gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Welcome to Cornhusker Corner with Blake.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I'm Brooks.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
And you better bet your bottom dollar that these two brothers know how to handle business.
Here's a hand up to Thunder, who gives it back to Mike Stokes. He's going to throw it. He's got a man out. Yeah! 40. It is. Very close. 15, 10, 5.
All right, welcome to Cornhusker Corner, where there's no place like this podcast. As always, we're your host Blake, my brother Brooks. If you're new to the channel, give us a like and subscribe. We would appreciate it. We like interacting with the few people that we get to. And then follow us on X at @chusker_corner. All right, let's get into it because it's been a couple weeks, not for any fault of our own, just life and work and everything.
Yes.
Because the last one we did was a preview for Colorado.
Yes.
So we've had Colorado and one more game since then.
Greg was on our last podcast together,
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah,
Yes.
Greg was. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Won't be seeing him anytime soon.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Greg. We got him out of here.
Yeah. But anyways, so we have a couple thoughts on some games to talk to. I know that you gave some thoughts on the Colorado game.
Yeah.
I did too. We didn't really get to meet and talk about it.
I read your notes. So
yeah, you read my notes.
Yeah, how about we start with that? Because since
okay.
it's why don't you give your quick thoughts on the Colorado game and just now we're a week removed from it. It was, I think we could all say, especially from your end, it was a surprising result, was it not? I mean, I think you can admit that going into the game, you thought maybe it would be a little closer than it ended up being. Can you at least admit that? So now moving away a couple weeks from it, what do you think?
No, I mean the result was the final score. Let's say this. Final score wasn't shocking.
Right.
The how the game was played was shocking. I knew that we were going in, and we talked about this offline. That you really are still trying to hedge your bets against Nebraska. Just because it's been so long to where you can see the talent on the field, and it doesn't come through in the big moments. That was a big moment. I think I said that it was good to see them step up instead of step down from the moment. Our line play was just outrageously good. It was good to see that. Well, the thing I didn't like about it just coming out of the game and now being so far removed is the narrative wasn't, oh my God, Nebraska might be good. The narrative is, oh geez, Colorado sucks. And you don't like that to be don't like that to be the case. I think we'll get into this. I think that we can quell some of that this week. But going in, it was just good to see as a Nebraska fan. I know you were there. You gave your insights and everything on camera.
Right.
But
it was an incredible environment, man.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It was fun to watch. And then the last thing I will say is just kind of in response to you in something you said. It was I was a little high on the game coming out, and I was like, now I don't doubt that we're going to go in undefeated to Ohio State. And you kind of mentioned he's that's big for him. He's very optimistic, and I still am. I am just you say pessimistic. I think I'm a little bit more realistic. So until I see something, I'll be like, okay. I'm not a shun the non-believer, shun him. I'm not one of those, but you are definitely more so just I'm all in, and then you're in. I've
already been hurt so many times. I'm numb. So
right.
Might as well go all in. And if I get hurt again, I get hurt again. Right. It just is what it is. That's kind of my attitude about it. So
again, and I've been hurt too. So we just, it's how we take it differently. I've been hurt so much that even when they say they love me, I still take it with a grain of salt until their actions show it. Right.
Right. No, I feel that
for an analogy. But I still think that we have a very good chance to do that. But now after having that week of play and then another week of play coming up, the games that we'll get into this, the games that we thought were going to be cupcake wins for Nebraska are going to end up being hard hard wins.
Oh, for
right?
sure. And what?
Between this week and Indiana and
Mhm,
Rutgers, like it's going to be difficult, right?
no doubt.
So
Well, for sure, and we'll get into it, but, so those were your thoughts on the or
yeah,
on let's go through this chronologically. So those are your thoughts on the Colorado game. The
yeah,
Colorado win propels us into the AP top 25, which we haven't mentioned yet on
awesome.
this
Yep.
podcast. We were 23 or 24, whatever poll
For
going
the
into last week.
entire
Yeah.
reign of this podcast, we haven't even sniffed the
Yeah,
top 25.
awesome, right? Yeah,
Haven't
awesome, right?
sniffed it.
It's not very important this far into the season, right? And we'll talk about that, but it's really cool. And now we're 22. So Northern Illinois thoughts, real quick. Let's go ahead and just talk about the last game. A couple of quick thoughts on Northern Illinois. So from my perspective, I thought like it felt. And now don't tell. I'm not telling you we're as good as this, okay? But from my perspective, it felt a lot like a lot of Michigan's wins last year, where it was like, oh, is Michigan in trouble? And then you look up all of a sudden and they're winning by 31 points. And in all reality, they were in control the whole game. You know what I mean? So there was some concerning things as far as like Northern Illinois, or no, not Northern Illinois. Northern Iowa had a very good game plan. They have a veteran coach. They're a physical culture. So there was some moments where there was concern here and there. They were getting too many yards on some run concepts and things dialed up
Yeah.
for stuff Tony had, but it was obviously also from our perspective, it was obvious that Tony was running a bit of a vanilla game plan. And we were missing both Jamari Butler and Mekhi Bear in the first half.
Bear, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot to consider, but yeah.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Just kind of, they are an FCS team, so we should have been able to really handle our business. So it was kind of one of those things like, yeah, you look up and like, oh, well, we're up by 3 scores. I don't know what you want from us. But one of the things I would have said if we could have done it last week in the preview was coming off an emotional win. And if you saw Chasing 3, that was an emotional win. And it wasn't an emotional in terms of like, oh my God, we weren't supposed to win. It was, they were preparing for it all off season because that team did not just beat them, they disrespected them. They got beat a lot last year. That was the game that they felt disrespected, right? Even the Michigan game, they didn't come out of that feeling disrespected, right?
Yeah.
So that was something that had circled. So they wanted to go out and do what they did. So coming off of that into a game that, you should, have a multiple score victory on paper.
Yeah.
That is a area that Nebraska struggled in as well. Like the games you're supposed to win, especially against teams like this, have been close in the past couple of years, right? So like even last year when we beat Northern Illinois and we beat Louisiana Tech, those were 2 teams that we should have beat. Again, those aren't FCS teams, but those were games where like, oh, we should trounce them. And, we beat them, but we didn't really beat them by that many points. Right.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of like how the team played, I think they came out a little flat, especially on defense. They kind of was like, oh, kind of look what we did to those superstars. So what are they going to be able to do? And, they were able to drive the ball a little bit, especially in the first half. They kind of ran it in a little bit and
10 play drive off the rip, 10 play drive off the rip.
Yep. And, very easily could have gotten out of hand if they would have panicked. Because that's the kind of team that Northern Iowa is, right? They've done that in the past. They haven't done it in a while, but like that was the talking point going in. Like this is a program that does this. They can play people close and and all that. But I think in general it was good to see that the coaching staff was able to focus them on a game that they could have really lost focus
100%
and to come out and perform. Now I didn't like, again, people are making, I think, a big deal about like the second half production on offense specifically. But when you're up by that much in every single one of our games, you're just trying to go out there and you're trying to run a vanilla offense.
No doubt.
And you're just trying to run enough to give your defense a break. Right?
Yeah.
Score if you can. But really just get a couple first downs. And
even JJ McCarthy last year, like a little bit more of a runner than Dylan, but like his stats were not off the chart because ultimately, like if you look at the majority of Michigan's games, he played 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters,
Yeah.
3 at worst. And so like we'll get into the Illinois stuff, but like if you compare our stats in Illinois, it's deceiving to me because they've played 4 quarters of football pretty much the whole time. Versus we've played no, like they're starters. If you look at the breakdown, like they've played more football than us up to this point. Like they were in all 4 quarters of their games. Versus Dylan has 2 of our games only played 2.5 quarters basically. The other thing I want to think about just to wrap all this we're 25% of the way through the season, right? So it's actually kind of good that we're able to look back right now. Don't we have an overlay that was like our predictions or was it a background?
I'll bring it up. Yep.
Yeah, could you bring it up? So looking back at the first of all, we're undefeated in our non-conference schedule, which is fantastic. We're 3-0. Like that's, if you would have told me that going into the year, I'd be ecstatically excited going into the year, you know? And I don't, not to beat a dead horse, but just to put it into perspective with this non-con schedule, the best record I see, the best Scott Frost team having with it is like 2-1. Yeah. They either beat Colorado and then lose to this team we played last week because they weren't able to control their emotions, or they lose to Colorado and then they, you know what I mean? And then they that's what would have happened. So like, you got to give, like, we're seeing the change in the culture right now. This would not have happened under any teams in the last 7 years. Obviously it didn't. So that's definitely encouraging, but
okay. Yeah. So we both had UTEP win. And then we had this split, and then the next 2 were wins. So, I mean, after this week, I could be more on track than you. But as of right now, you're winning 4-0 versus 3. What would be 3-1?
Right.
After this week.
So do you? But my I guess my question is, you don't have to designate the other loss, but do you revise your prediction from 8-4 to 9-3 now? Can I get you to do that? Because now we beat Colorado. That was one of your losses.
Yeah. I'm not ready to do that yet.
Okay.
I will. If we win this week, I will. I'm not ready yet though.
As you should. If you win this week, 9-3 should be a very realistic possibility.
9-3 should be the minimum because this is almost a lock now after seeing them last week. And that's not to take anything away from Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Because they played 3 good weeks of football. So Indiana
my
is
one
not a pushover.
loss.
Rutger is and Purdue.
Purdue, we're playing on the road at 11 a.m., which is kind of tough, but that's my one designated loss. And looking at the way what we've seen the first 3 weeks of football, I picked the wrong team, I think. You know, if I'd pick Rutgers or Indiana for sure on the road before Ohio State, and they look like a good team. Google me looks like a hell of a coach. That's what he said at the Big Ten press conference or Big Ten media. He was like, I don't know, somebody was asking him about his record. He's like, what do you mean? Google me. I win. That's what Indiana's coach said.
Google me. I win.
So anyway, that was a look back. Let's go ahead and get into the Illinois game. It's Friday. It's a short week. So they basically had a quick turnaround, and their Sunday was Monday. Monday was Tuesday. And now they're probably already in shells as we sit here on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts going into this week, man? How you feeling?
I mean, it's a top 25 matchup. Us being in the top 25 too. When's the last time that happened in Memorial Stadium? We're gonna have to look back at that.
2013 versus Minnesota.
The last time we had a ranked matchup in Memorial. Oh my gosh. So Bo Pelini.
Yes.
Wait, no, that can't be right.
No, it is. I heard it debated many times on the radio, and people dropped
even 16.
No, 2016, Oregon was not ranked. We played a bunch of powder cakes and then got murdered by Ohio State.
I do remember that.
Yeah, like because we were a fake team.
Yeah.
Like let me tell you that much going into this game. I'm excited because they have an opportunity to they're good teams. We're now going to be playing more physical teams. Illinois is a physical team. They're well coached. Brett Bielema is a really good coach. Unfortunate looking, but he is a very, very good coach. This is unfortunate looking. He wears these solid colored pullovers that just they do not do him any favors. Anyway, so they have an opportunity to be do a very interesting thing, because in 2016 they went 7-0, but we all, even Nebraska fans, kind of knew they were.
It was all kind of like a collective, like hold your breath kind of thing.
We knew it was gonna,
and because there were definite signs there that you could see.
But this year,
especially looking back,
if they go 7-0, I don't think they're fraudulent. Let me just say that. No matter what happens against Ohio State, like they're just a much better team than that team was.
And listen,
for sure.
I think they're more sound. I think a couple of the areas that they need to work on are penalties and special teams. But that aside,
good game this weekend.
So Illinois is coming to town. So Nebraska better bring the noise.
Yes.
But no, they will. I just think I'm a little nervous on it just because their preseason. Oh my God, I said what they said. They treated the first 3 games as preseason games. Oh
yeah.
But no, their first 3 games, they're out of conference games. Illinois they played better competition, in my opinion, overall. Because I think Kansas, even though they're having their struggles, I think they're a better team than Colorado. I just do. They had 4 turnovers too. It's really, really hard to win, and that kind of looks like we passed our juju off onto them, at least for now.
Yes.
Knock on wood.
Yes.
Jalen. You have to say that 3 times so it stays.
Yes.
But because they had that problem this week too, so that win doesn't look as good. But listen, Kansas is still a well-coached football team. That's still a good win. And their other ones I think stack up against our other ones. UTEP hasn't won a game yet.
Their resume is more impressive than ours right now.
Yeah, it is.
Like for sure.
So that's what I'm a little concerned about now. And it's because of how they beat those teams, right? One really close, except the Kansas game, which, Kansas just has some.
It's impressive, however you beat Kansas. Still, in my opinion, we'll see what they look like the rest of the year. But Lance Leipold, they're always going to have a good culture, and they're always going to play with sound fundamentals in the trenches.
Yep.
They have had a turnover problem, but I still believe they're a solid team. But anyway, impressive resume from Illinois.
Yeah, impressive. So, I mean, that being said, I'm a little worried about the game. I hope that we come out and it kind of looks the same as the past couple of weeks. I really do. It's our first
sign if it does.
Yes, it's our first real big test. They match up with us on the line of scrimmage. That's the first thing. First game all year where they're going to line up against people that are just as good. Maybe not like on a talent perspective, especially on like the defensive side versus offensive side. But
that's the advantage we have, right?
Offensive linemen, their offensive linemen are the best that our defensive linemen are going to see, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the theoretical advantage a program like Rules has in the way that he's built it, right? Like the when you watch A Decade of Dominance, like one of the things they repeat all the time is like, well, we weren't even like, I'll try to do my Dr. Rob. Well, we weren't even scared when we faced the other team because we knew that the best guys in America we were facing in practice. In practice. So, but there's some truth to that. Like, it's like, I agree with you. It's the best units we've played on the field, but from a talent standpoint, when we're talking 1v1s, would I take their D line over our D line? Probably not. Would I take their O line over our O line? Especially with Micah, no, but even without Micah, probably not. We're veteran. We're a veteran unit, man. I don't doubt Brett's. I don't doubt his trenches. I really don't.
Like even last year,
love how ours are looking right now.
Even last year when they were bad.
Their
line play was great.
For sure.
Not
sure.
Good, great. Right.
That's great. So great that they let a true freshman stop them on 4th and 1 to give Nebraska the ball and the win right off the bat in the game last year. But still, I agree with you. I do agree. I just had to say I had to give Riley a shout out.
Dudes make plays everywhere, right?
Yeah, true.
Dudes make plays anywhere. Diamond shine anywhere.
Shine anywhere. That speech, man. That speech was awesome by Bud.
Yeah. But it's I'm a little worried, and I know I've said that like 4 or 5 times now. But they don't look worried. And I don't know if that should make me more scared or more confident.
Brother, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out. I love the feel I get from this team right now.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But you could be calling me at like midnight my time on Friday and going like, "What the hell happened?"
No, yeah. So, okay, let me ask you this. Just a big picture framing question. we're ranked the number 22 team in the nation. Do you think that's appropriate? Do you think that's exactly where we need to be ranked right now?
Honestly, I didn't expect us to move up. I expected
Power
them to
rating though, not based on resume, nothing based on resume, based on let's do based on like eye test power rating. Who do you think is like, do you think 22 is an appropriate rating for us? Let me ask you that. There you
go. As of right now, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't played a whole 4 quarters of football, and whether it's fair or not, that's held against you. Teams that have been pushed and had to play close games a little bit right now, that you're sitting there laughing and smiling. It's a good thing to run up against early on.
Oh,
right?
I completely agree. And this theoretical I'm about to throw out there is totally unrealistic, but let's pretend there's a theoretical team out there that is like 4 times as good as 1995 Nebraska. And not only do they destroy every team by like an average margin of 21, they literally don't even ever have a 4-quarter game all the way through the playoff. At the end of the year, are we going to look at that team and say, nah, we can't judge them because they didn't play 4 quarters worth of football? So my point is, when you look at the first 3 games you're doing a micro version of that. So my point is, like, it's not a bad thing. It's a credit to them that they have only haven't had to play 4 quarters.
They've gotten to do that, and
yeah.
And listen, we could have done some of the other power conferences like teams have done, and just like left our stars in a run up 70 points. But like
Chip Kelly offense is 77-3 Hawaii or something.
Yeah, like you could have done that, right? Yeah. One of the things that Rule's still trying to do, which is why like I don't buy us, like even if we do go 7-0,
yeah,
I don't buy us as a playoff team this year, just because I don't think we're as deep as some of the teams that need to get there. But that's something, to my point, is what Rule is trying to build. He's trying to get those guys into games. He's trying to get game experience, not just like scrimmage experience. It's completely different. So he's trying to build that. So that's one of the reasons why they've put 2s in and started cycling people out, and
So
injuries.
You do appropriately rate us power rating at 22. So to give you listeners an idea out there of where Blake and I differ, and I'll put this on the record, I power rate us at number 6.
15. Oh,
at number 6.
God.
I power rate us at number 6. And
okay.
Are you ready to follow my logic? Are you ready to follow my logic?
Okay, who's above us?
So I watched Missouri this week. I watched a solid bit of the Missouri game this week, like 90% of it. And I tell you what I was thinking when I watched the Missouri game this week. We're better than them.
Of course you did. Like, they're playing better teams.
Watch the game. They do not look good. Like Dylan Raiola, by the way, and I'll also say this. The announcers the other day at the end of the game dropped a word that maybe some people cringed at. I certainly did not. He dropped the Heisman word. The Heisman word, because let me tell you this, I think we have a damn good team. I power rate us at number 6 in the nation. I think people are going to find that out over the course of the year. And I think that when you are the number 6 team in the nation and you do go something like 10-2, that your quarterback, specifically a freshman operator who's efficient, and if we do what I'm describing right now, like he'll have to make a lot of plays, Heisman type plays, and he'll make them. Don't get me wrong, he'll make them. So I'm not saying he's going to win the Heisman this year. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is I would not be surprised if when it's all said and done at the end of the year, he's in the top 10 of voting for the Heisman. I would not be surprised.
Well, saying he's like a Heisman caliber player and saying that it's going to like be like top 10 even this year.
Here's my logic.
A little far. No, I know. It's a little bit of a stretch.
I have one more weave to back up my argument. Okay.
Did you find it on the
so everyone's saying like it is Houston. No, okay. So everyone's saying like you just said, I don't know if we have the depth to do that. And I'm like, yeah. I'm not necessarily saying they're a national championship caliber team. Okay. But what I am saying is our defensive unit this year is so supremely veteran. And if you really look at it, like it's like we have 6 super seniors and like 5 seniors or something like that. And we're going to lose them all at the end of this year. Okay. So I have confidence in Rule and I have confidence in his program, but it's realistic to assume that we're going to, and also we might lose Tony White, right? So it's realistic to assume that we might take a step back next year defensively. It's also realistic to assume that we might take a step forward offensively, lots to develop in the offense. But I think, I'm not saying this is the year we got to do it this year, but I just think that, like, especially defensively, when you have a defense like that, it keeps you in every game. We figured that out. We fumble like 5 times as an offense, and we're still in the game. Like Scott Frost, the greatest 3-9 team of all time. They were only 3-9 because they could not stop giving the ball away. The defense was good, you know. So like when you have a truly good defense, like it really does keep you in those games. So the Ohio State game, the USC game, like maybe we'll lose, but you know, I don't think it's a given. I really don't.
All right. Well, we're talking about Illinois.
Anyway, Illinois. Yeah.
You're going off on Heisman. You're going off on Heisman tangents and talking about Ohio State and national.
We're the number 6 team in the nation.
Number 16 in the nation. Illinois is going to have
Kool-Aid
something.
Is flowing, folks.
Yeah, I know. You're. I have to ring you back in. I can't. No. Here's what I can't do.
Yeah.
I can't let you sit there for weeks and watch us win 2 games and not have a podcast. So you're just able to get there.
Yes,
I need to get my what you say is pessimism, my realism. I need to inject you with a little bit of vial of that. So it brings you back down.
Look, I'm just basing this off of what I've seen, brother. They've looked great. They've looked really good.
Hey, and that's like your opinion, man.
It is. It is my opinion. I'm not always right with feel. Look, like I sat there in 2 different Airbnbs, one an apartment, one Airbnb, the night before the Oklahoma game and the night before the Michigan game. And I looked at you and said, look, man, I just have a feeling. That it's going to happen. This is going to be the time, you know? So yeah, I'm not always right is the point.
Yeah.
But also I remember 2015 U of H. They went 12-1, 13-1.
Yeah.
After like the first or second game of the season, I liked Tom Herman. I thought he was a good coach. My mom asked about the season we were at in the Guitar Center parking lot. I remember, and I was like, they're going to go undefeated. And I kind of just said it in jest, but I sort of believed it. I was like, they look really good, and they're not in a crazy tough league. Like they're going to go undefeated, and they almost did. You know, so Anyway.
Again,
Illinois. Back to Illinois.
This is what I hope isn't happening in Lincoln right now. Right?
Yes.
I hope people aren't talking about,
day by day, boys.
Power rating, we're this, we're that.
That's our job. That's our job.
See, that's your job. Their job is to say like, hey, we are a great team, and they're in our way. Let's go move them away. Let's go get them out of the way. That's their job. So, and I know that's hopefully how they're looking at it, because thank goodness they got ranked too. They would be looking at it, as important anyways. But I think that gives them a little extra juice, because we haven't beaten a top 25 team since Riley's first year. Mike Riley, his first year, Michigan State.
Oh, that's right.
We upset
Brandon Riley coming back in bounds. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
we upset them. That was the last time we beat a ranked team.
Damn, really? That's the last time?
Damn, I would have to bet, yeah.
It almost happened like 4 times 2021. It almost happened like 4 times.
Scott Frost almost did a lot of things. He almost did.
Oh, wow. Maybe it's been enough time. Maybe the statute of limitations is up, because there's definitely no Scott Frost statue anywhere near the stadium. People thought maybe there would be, but nope. Anyway, glad to have Rule. There might be a statue of him. I think. Anyway, so let's do game predictions.
Talking about statues.
Yeah, we're talking about statues. I'm talking about statues. Let's do game predictions.
All right.
So go ahead, Mr. Pessimist.
No.
Predict your close game.
No, go ahead.
You want me to go? Okay.
Yep. So
this is a statement game for Nebraska. If they are what I'm talking about, what they are, then this game shouldn't be close, because realistically, even last year, like Brett Bielema has good trenches. He does. And last year they had Jer'Zhan Newton, right? Like that one dude who was just marauder up front. He was a beast. He's gone now, but they got other dudes. So like I'm not poo-pooing Brett Bielema's outfit that he's got, right? I just think that I am poo-pooing his actual outfit, but I'm not poo-pooing his program. Okay, program. There's an important differentiation. But anyway, so it will be a test. Don't get me wrong. And there might be a moment or two early on where it's like, oh, how are they going to respond? But my point is, the last couple times we've played Illinois, we've had offenses that go back onto the field and put our defense in tough positions. We have turnovers. We just an offense that really doesn't back up. I mean, even last year, like they did a good job of doing enough, but like it was like, remember, we were like hanging on to
like
win that game.
The defense couldn't move.
Yeah,
They couldn't move on our defense.
Yeah, I know, and our defense played such a good game.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I just think that like now we have Dylan Raiola, okay, and I think that like he's proving himself as a difference maker. So I really think if they are what I think they are, it'll be like a 34-14 game. So that's what I'll predict: 34-14.
34-14.
Yeah.
And 14 points would be the most that anybody has scored on us this year.
Yeah.
So
it'll be an early 7. They'll come out, they'll get the ball first, they'll come out and they'll score first, and everybody will be freaking out.
They're going to look really good. One thing that Tony White is really good at is adjustments. Has been the entire time he's been here. So listen, he is a good coach. They're a good squad. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. We are going to win this game. We're going to win the game.
Come over to the light side.
No. But again, it's gonna be one of those things that like it's a 4-quarter game. It's a 4-quarter game, and it's not nearly as pretty. We are going to have some turnovers, some uncharacteristic things are going to happen, and that's where you're going to see the team actually turn the corner when they have real adversity against them. What that looks like, and it just will set the tone. Now, I would wish it would be like 56-7. That would be awesome. That would be a statement. But I'm going to go more realistic. I'm going to go with 24-13.
24-13.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: leading receiver. Just real quick, who do you think will be our leading receiver? Because one narrative coming out of this last game was like, so many weapons, too many weapons. That's kind of like what everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't really get your argument, because like, I mean, ultimately, you need stats as a guy, but like film is really like that's what Coach Rule knows as an NFL guy, especially is like, if you put the right thing on film and you got enough stats, it should be fine.
See,
but
I don't think.
Do you think they pare it down?
No.
Yeah, that's what everybody's been saying.
No. And if anything, and this is something I will say, they've probably shown maybe 1/6 of the playbook. They haven't had to open it up. And we'll see what it looks like when they do. But for like leading receiver, I think Nair's going to have a lot of attention on him, a lot of attention. And that's going to open up either Banks or Lloyd. I know they've tried to begin those deep shots to Lloyd.
Or Barney.
Yeah.
I mean, those swings count as passes, don't they? Those little end arounds where he just gets tossed the ball. That counts
in front
as a
of
pass.
him. Yes.
If it's in front of him. If it's behind him, it's not a pass. It's a run. Right?
Behind him, it's not a pass.
Okay. Yeah.
So
it could be Barney.
If he throws it, it's a pass.
Yeah.
If he tosses it, it's a toss.
Yeah. So anything forward counts as a pass. Anything behind him counts as like a run on the stats.
If he pitches it. Unless those those bubble screens behind, that's a behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last little question. Do you think we get the Heinrich Harburg double pass this week? It's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point this year.
It's going to happen. And shout out to him. He threw 4 passes, 4 completions last week.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. He operated well when he came in. And the fun, I mean, Emmett Johnson did a good job of backing it up and giving us that one score to make the game really look like it should look.
Yeah.
But that was a Heinrich-led drive, and there was a couple important first downs that he got on that drive that put us in that position for Emmett to be able to do that. So yeah, shout out to Heinrich. I don't think our ceiling is as high, as high with him at quarterback.
Oh no,
but I do think he can operate and end the game cleanly in those situations.
Over.
So. No, it's not over. Yeah.
If
our technical goals would still be in front of us. We're trying to get back to a bowl game. We're trying to do all that stuff. But all this wishy-washy, when you wish upon a star crap that I'm talking about, is only really possible when you have a game changer like Dylan Raiola at quarterback.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right. You're right. Man. Okay. Do you want to give like one? Well, you did this back.
Oh yeah,
do you want to give one?
did.
Do you want to give one key to the game?
Yeah, I mean, like our offense, it's to me, like our defense is going to be able to hold them to a certain amount of points. Okay, like they might have a play here or there, and like they got some legit receivers, but I ultimately think like I don't really see our defense giving up more than 14 to these guys. If it was 21, I would be, that doesn't look good. But so to me, the keys to the game lie on the offensive side of the ball, and it lies with Dante Dowdell. We got to establish the run to pass off the run, because if we can pass off the run, you have one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten right now passing for us. So if you can give him the field to do that, where they're loading up the box, anticipating a run, and then you're giving people one-on-one matchups, or he's able to throw through his own, we'll pick these guys apart. We will. So yeah, that's the key to me.
Okay. So Illinois has not been very good on the run. This is something we did not mention.
Okay.
This year, they have not been very good on the run. They've been getting most of it done through the air. So, yeah.
That's a W. That's a W.
James. So if I say that if they are one-dimensional again against that defense specifically, our defensive line is going to get home if they just have to drop back and pass it, because I think they just pin their ears back and go. And our secondary is good enough to cover. Again, they have some players. They're going to make plays. They might even be up. They might even be up number 4. They might even be up 13-0, right? So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking at is if they're going to be able to establish the run. So
you said 24-13, and I said 34-14.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna score 21, and it's gonna be like 21-42.
Hey, if they got to go through a little adversity, they got to go through it. But I got to tell you, over the course of a 4-quarter game, I think that these guys can be resilient. I do. I like this team. I like the coach, and yeah, maybe we'll have to go through adversity this game, but I don't really anticipate it that much, to be honest. So
another thing we didn't do, we didn't play our win streak music. Threes. We'll earn that. We'll earn that next week.
No,
unless you have it queued.
No, I totally do have it queued. Yes. I want you to think every time we win. I want you to think about this song. It's so catchy.
Okay. That's our win streak music. Okay. All right. Wait. All right. Well, that's going to be it for us today on the Cornhusker Corner. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and always remember that there's no place like this podcast.